Probably the number one problem I see people have with their Seint makeup when they first start is that they use too much. So I wanted to do a tutorial showing you how very little I use, because we're used to liquid foundations that are watered down and thinned out, and creams are very, very concentrated. So it doesn't take much at all. So when I start with my foundation, I'm going to show you on this so you can see a little better. I just use this tiny dab, and you're going to be amazed at how large of an area that covers. Put it on with my brush. And I go light. I tackle the areas where I have the most color and things I want to cover up. And so that whole area took care of that little amount. And something else, I'm gonna use a little more, about the same size. Something else that you have to consider is, since it's a cream, kind of like butter, once it melts into your skin, the warmth of your skin is going to melt it even more. And so then you're going to be able to spread it out even more. So don't go super heavy right up front, because you're going to do a final blend after it melts into your skin. And so that little dab covered this whole area of my face. I'll get another tiny little dinky dab on there to do the other side. And you can always go back and add more if you need to. By the time you even out all the various colors in your skin and distractions with a base coverage, kind of tackling the most distracting areas of your face, you'll be surprised at how much everything kind of melds together, and you'll use less than you feel like you need. And so, what was there, like 4 or 5 little teensy dips, and it covered my face really, really well. I'm going to go over with one final little one, just to give myself a little extra coverage where I want it. And this is my main highlight, and so I'm not tackling my under eyes with this, and I'm not really even doing between my brows. I just used the brush that had some on it. So I still have some left on here that I didn't even use, that I don't even need, but I'll go ahead and throw it somewhere since I already have it on the scalpel. Okay, so that is all I needed, that tiny little dab for my main highlight. A lot of people, especially when they're first starting out, they will use that whole amount that I used on my face just for one tiny area. And then I'll go ahead and start putting on my other colors to my 3D foundation. And as it kind of melts into my skin, I'll see it get a little bit dewy, and then I'll do a final blend to kind of blend it out even more. So I'll go ahead and go to my contour, and I'm going to show you how much I use of it as well. I like plenty of contour, so it's still just a tiny little dinky amount on this scalpel. And I'm going to take my brush and kind of blend that out. And it goes a long way on the brush. And it is also made as a cream, and it also has the beeswax and lanolin, so it will spread out, but it's made to be a drier formulation so that your shadows don't shift, and so that your face and cheeks and all of the things that you contoured don't droop. So it's a drier formulation, and that is a good thing. That's exactly what you want out of your contour. And so, still working with that tiny little dab that I had, I've contoured the entire perimeter of my face. I'm contouring this cheek. And because I like a heavy cheek contour, I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit more, another tiny dinky little amount, which spreads out a lot. And so I'm going to start this on the other cheek. Probably heavier than I need for it to be, but that's okay. It blends out. It's a cream. I can just keep blending if it's too much. And so those two dabs contoured my entire face, with the exception of my nose. I still have a little bit on here, but I'm going to grab just a smidge more. It's hard to even see. So this is a tiny little scalpel. It may look larger as I get it close to the camera. Ooh. But a little of these creams go a really long way. And I really don't even need any more, but I have quite a bit on the spatula still. So I'll go ahead and just add it to a couple other areas, just to kind of use it up. Now my bronzer, Bella, which I love, another yummy beeswax cream, and I like my bronzed look. So it's just a tiny amount, but with a cream, with our creams, that's a lot. It goes a long way. So I'm spreading it out on here, putting it on my brush. And our creams are pigmented, so they pack a lot of punch. And so I'm using a spatula to kind of illustrate, and I use that for sanitary reasons, because I do makeovers on people, you are going to probably be dipping your brush straight in to your cream makeup. And so just barely, barely, barely go in very, very light, do less than you think you need, and it will go farther than you think. And after you do your final blend, if you feel like you still need more later, it's super easy to go back and add. I did my whole face with that one little thing of bronzer, and then my brightening highlight, a little extra on my spatula of the bronzer that I just wiped off. My brightening highlight, I go even lighter because it doesn't need to cover as many areas, and it just takes a dab. It spreads out like butter. It goes a long way. It's very concentrated. You will not need as much as you have of previous foundations. And our lip and cheeks are also creams, and so I'll show you how much I use with those. Okay, I'm going to use Black Cherry today. I'm going to use extra of this because it's a gloss, and so a gloss will naturally be more thin, maybe too much, but I like my blush. Some people like it to not be noticeable at all, and I'm okay with having a blush of color there. But so far, I barely dipped into that. I have most of it left. I still have a lot of it on my brush, and it completely covered both cheeks, but I'm going to put a little more. And had a lot left, and so I'll just put that on my lips because our lip and cheeks are for both